Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com. Time now for the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary. I'm here with North Summit High School volleyball coach Samantha Stevens. And Samantha, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Samantha, can you tell me about your team? Looks like you're a fairly young team. How are things going this year with the youth?
Here with Rich Rebel, head coach of the volleyball team, Cindy Stewart, and coach. Good road trip last week, playing at Taviona, Duchesne against Union, and then also at Manila.
Yep, good road trip for us. We wrapped up the region champ.
Thanks again to Lady Rebel head volleyball coach Cindy Stewart for that interview. This is the pregame coaches show brought to you by Bear Lake Realty in Garden City and Gary McKee. We're about 5 minutes away from today's opening serve, and we'll be back with the Big O Tires of Evanston presents Rich High School Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 with video online at kadqradio.com. Today's match is brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals. Cowboy Motor Company, save a horse, buy from Cowboy. Big O Tires, the team you trust. Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet. Wyoming Dental Specialties. Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. And Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number. Today's starting lineups are brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set is brought to you by The Station in Randolph. Your pregame coaches show is brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. And your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast is You Win a Title. And now, it's time for a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at kadqradio.com.
Good evening and welcome to Rich High School, the home of the Rebels. We're now in the gym. Rebel football team just wrapped up a dominating victory, 48-21 over the Diamond Ranch Diamondbacks. And right here inside the gym, Rebels and the North Summit Lady Braves warming up to face each other here tonight, the final regular season match for the Lady Rebels before next week's state tournament at Utah Valley University. We're about 10 minutes away from tip-off, and in the meantime, we have our pregame show. And here on the pregame show, again, I'm not going to take too much time setting things up because we want to hear from Coach Samantha Stevens of the Lady Braves, and we're running short on time here. We're not too far away from our opening serve, which will be brought to you by our beginning serve, of course, brought to you here on KADQ. By the station in Randolph. So that's coming up before too long. In the meantime, stay here, and the Rebels and the North Summit Lady Braves facing off against each other. The Braves are coming off a match most recently. They played against South Summit, lost to South Summit 3-0, but they beat American Leadership prior to that, and they've kind of been up and down this season. Samantha Stevens sees a lot of talent there, but she just feels like the talent hasn't come together to play as a team and really pull together a full match. And they've also been dealing with some injuries, which has hurt the team quite a bit. As for the Rebels, they're coming off a loss last night at Mountain Crest against a real tough Mountain Crest team. The Rebels lost the first two sets. They won the third set 25-19, lost the fourth set. It was a close match, but the Rebels lost 3-1 in 4. And again, Rebels, for the 27th consecutive year, Region 17 champions, and will take that number 1 seed into next week's state tournament. Stay tuned. We got more of our pregame show coming up. We'll talk with Samantha Stevens, and if we have time, we'll hear from Coach Cindy Stewart as well here on the pregame coaches show. We'll be right back on the Coaches Show. You're listening to a Big O Tire of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM and watch online at kadqradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy Way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big old tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com. Time now for the Cindy Stewart pregame coaches show, brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, and we'll talk with North Summit head coach Samantha Stevens. You're listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ 98.3 FM and watch it online at KADQRadio.com.
Come see why the Bear Lake Valley has become one of the hottest real estate markets in Utah. The Reserve, Bear Lake's finest resort, is a masterfully planned recreation community nestled in the beautiful Bear Lake Valley. Luxurious mountain getaways overlooking the turquoise waters of Bear Lake. With lowering interest rates, it's a great time to buy. To find out how to make the Bear Lake Valley your next home or vacation getaway, contact BearLakeRealty.com. That's BearLakeRealty.com.
I'm here with North Summit High School volleyball coach Samantha Stevens. And Samantha, thank you for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Samantha, can you tell me about your team? Looks like you're a fairly young team. How are things going this year with the youth?
We're doing okay. We're up and down. We have lots of potential. Sometimes you see great things out there. Other times you see young teams making silly mistakes. But we definitely have lots of potential, and we definitely have nowhere to go but up. So we're excited for the future, what the future is going to bring the next few years.
Can you give me kind of a brief recap of the season up to this point?
So, yeah, we've been kind of plagued with some injuries at the first of the year. Some games we show up, some games we don't. We've played our rival, South Summit, who we always, I don't know, have some mental problems when we play them. But the first game, we played them home, and we didn't show up at all. And then we played a lot better up there. So I was proud of them for that. Just kind of ups and downs. We went to the Sevier Valley tournament, played some bigger schools, and some games we did some great things, and other games we played teams that weren't so good, and we played at their level instead of playing how we should. So kind of been up and down. We have lots of talent. It's just putting it all together, and we have a lot of young kids, so a lot of inexperience. We had 6 seniors last year, so we have no one that started last year, so everyone that's played this year didn't start varsity last year, so a lot of young, kind of unexperienced, kind of, lots to learn for each of them, but, we're making progress.
Tell me a little bit more about the progress. You've seen some improvement throughout the season?
Yes. We went down and played Gunnison at the first of the year. We played them again last night, and we took the first game from them last night. We got beaten 3 down there. We took the first game last night, and every game we were right there. In the second game, they lost 25-22. The third game, it was 25-20. I mean, we're right there. It's just we're having a hard time finding someone to put the ball down for us consistently. We're having people step up here and there, but no one that can do it consistently. That's what we're kind of lacking this year.
And as far as with the state tournament coming up just around the corner, where does your team sit right now in your region and looking ahead to the state tournament?
We'll be third. We'll be going in as third in our region. So it looks like we'll probably be playing either a Delta or Beaver. So it'll be tough for us. It'll be a second place from that region, and so I think it's definitely doable if we play well, which we've seen at times. I think it's for sure we can win that game. It's just if we can get over the jitters and nerves, because no one from this team has played at state before, and so hopefully we can get over that and just get there and play well and You know, I told them I don't care if we lose to teams, if we're playing well, if we're playing our best, but I hate to lose to people when you don't even show up, you know, or you don't play well. So hopefully we can play well, and we'll finish how we finish. If we play well, that's great. Learning experience, hopefully.
Do you feel like the team is playing where you'd like them or how you'd like them to be playing at this point in the season?
At moments, not consistently, that's for sure. We went to the Severe Valley tournament, and I really felt like one of our juniors, Haley McQueen, really stepped up. She started putting the ball down for us consistent, and it was like great. Every time she got the front row, I was like, okay, great. But then the last couple games, it's kind of been the same. No one else has that. And that's what I told them. I've seen you guys play well, and now I know what you can do. So when you don't play that well, then it's hard for me to not be upset with them, because I know I've seen what they can do, and they do have a lot of talent. We do. It's just getting it to come out game after game.
So is Friday's match against Rich, is that your final match of the regular season?
Yes.
And have you, since you've been the coach at North Summit, have you played against Rich?
Not an official game. We have played practice games. Cindy has come down and done our camps, well, actually her and Sammy, her daughter, the last few summers. I really look up to Cindy. She's a great coach. She knows what she's doing, and I just have loved being able to kind of learn and work with her. And it's the same. Even though maybe they don't have the best players, they always are right there at state. You know what I mean? They have that drive, they have that desire, and kind of expect to be there playing for it. And I just love that about her and her team. And I just, you know, I'm excited to play Rich and see what they can do.
What does the match mean as far as the season is concerned and moving toward the state tournament next week?
I think a win would be awesome for us. A great booster for our team. I'm just hoping that we can give them a good match, and I hope that we can be in there. I mean, I would like us to be in the 20s, and it would be great if we could win a game or two or even the match. But the one thing about Rich's team is they don't get flustered. If they get down, I mean, I've watched them year after year. If they get down, they just come back. They don't get all upset. They just stay calm. They just get point after point, catch back up, and a lot of those games they win. And we watched them at Severe Valley this year also. But not like they have any huge hitters or huge stars. I just hope that we can, you know, be right there with them. And I know we can talent-wise, for sure. It's just if we can put it all together.
Well, good luck, Coach, with the match. And, again, thank you for your time.
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. And thank you to Coach Samantha Stevens, head coach of the North Summit Lady Braves. If you were watching online at KADQradio.com, you saw the seniors for both the volleyball team and the cheerleaders out there on the floor. It is senior night here for the Rich Rebels. Football team celebrated senior night with a big victory over the the Diamond Ranch Diamondbacks, 48 to 21 in the football game. Rebels got the victory. And stay tuned. We got more on our pregame show, and then the match coming up on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich, inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Thanks again.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. And the Rebels hosting North Summit here tonight at Rich High School. And we're just moments away from the beginning serve tonight, brought to you by the station in Randolph. Right now, it's time for your starting lineups, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. And starters tonight, number 4, Amy Ovard, a senior. Number 5, Haley McQueen, a junior. Number 9, Janessa Stevens, a sophomore. Number 12, Cassidy Evans, a junior. Number 16, McKadry Potter, a junior. And number 19, Michaela Smith, a sophomore. And the one other starter for tonight is number 2, Ashlyn Blomquist, who has been out for 3 weeks, but has now gotten back into play. She had a stress fracture in her leg and just got back into action within the last week or two. Starters for the Rich Rebels is senior Cammie Lamborn, number 3. And Reagan Lloyd, number 4. If you're watching online, you see Ellen Peart, number 10, coming down for the Rich Rebels. There's Andy Cornea, number 11, starting for the Rich Lady Rebels. Number 20, Lilia Brown, a sophomore. And a senior, number 25, Danielle Huffner. Those are the 6 starters for your Rich High Lady Rebels. And starting lineups here tonight, brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. Our beginning serve of the first set is just moments away, and that beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. Tonight's scoreboard sponsor is You Win a Title. And I talked with Coach Stewart, frustrated about last night's loss, but understands that it was a tough team they played at Mountain Crest. And the Rebels looking to bounce back here tonight and get a victory over the North Summit Lady Braves. Now, the Lady Braves were at that tournament down in Richfield where the Rebels played a couple of weeks ago. Rebels went 5-2 at that tournament. They didn't ever actually match up with North Summit, but each of the teams did get the opportunity to see the other team play. So these are 2 teams that, despite the fact that they're actually fairly close in geography, they're not too far away from each other, with North Summit down in Colville. They're 2 teams that haven't played against each other all that much in the past. They've met several times at that tournament down in Richfield in past seasons, and for the most part, the Rebels have dominated those matchups. Rebels are 5-0 against North Summit over the course of the last 5 seasons or so. Looks like the Braves will serve first, and the beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph. Rebels set it up for Ellen Peart, and she gets the big hit down this near side, and the Rebels lead 1-0 on the Winnetottle scoreboard, making it look a little bit easy there. And now Ellen Peart will go back to serve for the Rebels. Serves to the back row, passed up high, and Ovard will set it up. Now the hit, Rebels are there. Peart passes up front. Good pass, Cornea sets it up for Lamborn, who hammers it right through the blockers. And the Rebels lead 2-0 on the Winnetottle scoreboard. So Peart will go back to serve again for the Rebels, leading 2-0 early on in set 1. JV's won in 3 straight. Rebels here, the North Summit Braves set it up, hit it on this near sideline, and it's just out. So the Rebels now lead 3-0 on the Winnetottle scoreboard. Good crowd here tonight at Rich High School. Good student section of about, looks like most of the football team is on that far side. Braves set it up, and here's the hit down the line. Brown's bump goes high back toward the back. Peart goes into the wall to keep it in the air, and Lamborn bumps it over. Rebels keep it alive. Now here's the set and the hit by the by the Braves. Rebels get it back over. Now the Braves will set it up again, and here's the tip into a hole. Lloyd dives, but she can't quite get underneath it, and the Braves are on the scoreboard. 3-1, Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard as Haley McQueen goes back to serve. Serves from this near side, the running jump serve. Goes to Lloyd. Nice pass up front to Cornea. The set for Lamborn. The push into the corner. Nice one-handed bump by Haley McQueen to keep it in the air and the bump over. Now Brown's pass goes into the stands, and Braves within one. 3-2 is our score. Rebels up by just one on the Uinta scoreboard, and McQueen back to serve again. Rebels with Cornea, Huffner, Peart, Lloyd, Lamborn, and Brown on the floor. Here's McQueen. Peart will pass it up front. Cornea sets it right near her to Huffner. Huffner's hit to McQueen. She'll pass it up front. Now they'll set it up, and a nice placement by Ovard. She tipped it over side of the blockers and found the floor on that far sideline. It's 3-3. We're tied on the Uinta scoreboard. And McQueen back to serve. The serve down low. Lamborn passes to Cornea, who sets it back up for Lamborn. The push almost tipped it over the blockers, but right there is Michaela Smith. They'll set it up and bump it back over. Weston, the pass. Now Cornea sets for Lamborn here on this near side. She just hammers it. It's blocked back to the Rebel bench and out of bounds, and the Rebels get the point and lead once again 4-3 now on the Uinta scoreboard. Danielle Huffner will go back to serve for the Lady Rebels. Passed up front. Here's the set by Ovard, and the hit. Nice pass by Peart. Good dig. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn, who hammers it again. Just powers through the blockers. Michaela Smith and Cassidy Evans, and the Rebels now lead 5-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Huffner back again. Passed up front by Blomquist. Now the set in the net, and we're going to have two hits by Ovard, and the Rebels lead 6-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Danielle Huffner from the far side, serving right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. And that's west to east. Braves get it back over. Now Lamborn will set it up for Lloyd, and they're going to say Lamborn hit it twice. And so the Braves get the point there. I wish we had this official last night when the Rebels played Mountain Crest. There were a lot of situations that seemed like two hits that were not called, and this official much more tight on that call. Rebels set it up for Lamborn, just tips it over, and a nice tip. Boy, how she got to that is a good guess. What an athletic play by Lamborn just to get that over the net. It falls to the floor between Blomquist and the net, and the Rebels lead 7-4 on the Uinta scoreboard. Cornea serves. Nice serve across the angle to this near side, and here's the set. Blomquist to hit. Peart dives and keeps it in the air, but it goes the wrong direction, and the Rebels can't get underneath it. And it's 7-5. Rebels with the narrow lead on the Uinta scoreboard. It's set one here at Rich High School. Rebels again with that narrow lead. Here's the serve. Peart passes up to Cornea. Cornea will set near side. Lamborn coming in strong, and she just powers it right through the blockers. They had no chance. Amy Ovard and Ashlyn Blomquist. And the Rebels lead 8-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back will go Lamborn to serve. It's passed up front, and they set it up for Blomquist. A nice hit down the line. And the Rebels bump it out of bounds, trying to keep it in the air. So it's 8-6. Braves with the lead. And no, they're going to say it was out of bounds. And it's 9-5. So that hit by Blomquist was down the line, just out of bounds, and the Rebels lead 9-5. Here's Lamborn to serve again. Braves will set it up for Blomquist again. She bumps it over to Peart. Cornea will set it up for Lloyd. Lloyd just kind of slaps it over. And Blomquist again, the hit on that far side, and it's in. So the point will go to the Lady Braves, and Rebel lead is cut to 3, 9-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. And back to serve goes Janessa Stevens. Rebels with Hopkin and Cornea up front. Here's the serve. Lamborn passes up front to Cornea. She'll set. And Peart coming in from this near side. Hits it down the line and just misses out. It's out of bounds. And the lead now down to 2. 9-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. Rebels with a narrow lead. Stevens goes back to serve again. And she goes to the back row, and Lloyd will pass up front. Cornea sets it up for Peart. Again, a hard hit down this line. And the dig is bumped by Cassidy Evans all the way to the far side of the court and out of bounds. And the Rebels back up by 3, 10-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. Huffner checks in onto the front row with Peart and Hopkin. Reagan Lloyd back to serve for the Rebels. Passed up front, not a great pass, tough set, and here's the hit. Now the Lamborn will set it or pass it up front. Cornea sets for Peart. Peart hit to the far corner, kept in the air by the Braves, but they bump it out of bounds over the net on this near sideline, right in front of the Rebel bench. And Rich now leads 11-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. And Lloyd back to serve again, serves to the far side and pretty close to an ace as Haley McQueen can't quite get underneath it. And the Rebels lead 12-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. Here's Lloyd. Reagan Lloyd goes back row, passed up front by Stevens. They'll set it up for Blomquist, tipped by the Rebel blockers, and it's hit right at Cornea, who just puts a hand up to block to shield her face, and it's bumped into the stands, and that ends that little Rebel run. It was a 3-0 run by the Rebels. And now Cornea will set for Huffner. Huffner's hit is blocked back and out of bounds. Rolled across the top of the net. A little high wire act there by the volleyball, and the Rebels now lead 13-8 on the Unitala scoreboard. Emily Hopkin back to serve with Lloyd and Lamborn on the back row. The ball just clears the net. Right back over to the Rebels. They'll set it up for Peart on this near sideline. Hammered into the blockers. It's blocked out of bounds, and the Rebels lead 14-8 on the Unitala scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. Coach Stevens wants to calm her team down. Rebels leading 14-8 on the Unitala scoreboard. And we'll be back in 30 seconds on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Coming out of the timeout, Rebels lead 14-8 on the Unitala scoreboard, and the cheerleaders over there at the student section. Rich High Rebel on the far southeast side of the gym. Hopkin will serve now, and Blomquist not a good pass. They're scrambling just to keep it in the air, and Michaela Smith can't get underneath it. Rebels lead 15-8 on the Unitala scoreboard. See where Hopkin goes with this one. Goes back row, the pass right at the net. Nice job by Lloyd to keep it in the air, and the Rebels will just push it over. Lamborn to the far corner. Blomquist just barely gets to it. It's out of bounds, and Michaela Smith keeps it in the air, but right to the floor in the middle of the defense, or the middle of the Braves players, and nobody can get there, and the Rebels lead 16-8 on the Unitala scoreboard. Blomquist pass up high. Now Ovard will set. They get a nice attack, but the Rebels are there. Lamborn passes up front. They'll set it for Peart. Peart the hit to the back row. One-handed bump to keep it in the air, and now Ovard will just bump it over. Lloyd passes up front to Cornea. Nice pass. Here's the set, and the hit by Peart, tipped by the blockers, and now a tip over the net by Smith. Nice heads-up play as that pass was right up in the net, and Smith just tipped it down to the floor. Smith some good height, and she took advantage of it there. Rebel lead is cut to 16-9 on the Unitala scoreboard. And Ovard, they've gone around the rotation. She goes back to serve. She served to start this one. Lamborn comes up diving to keep it in the air. Peart hits to the back line, just long. Just out of bounds. And it's 16-10. Rebels with the lead on the Unitala scoreboard. And the Rebel JV team 1-3 earlier tonight. Here's Ovard. Lloyd passes up front. Nice pass. Cornea hardly has to move. Peart the hit, and again she hits it long. And the Rebel lead is now 16-11 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. With Ovard back to serve again. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com, she's on the near side, serving left to right. Peart's pass goes right into the net, and it's tipped right to the floor by Cassidy Evans. And the Braves on a bit of a run here. They make it 16-12. They scored 4 straight. And Ovard back to serve for the 4th time. Here's Ovard. Lamborn will pass up to Cornea. Cornea sets for Lamborn on the back row. Big hit! And it is bounced up high on the dig. Janessa Stevens, it goes up to the ceiling and hammers right back down to the floor. And that ends that 4-0 run for the Lady Braves. And the Rebels lead 17-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Here's Peart. The serve as good as an ace as Blomquist can't get underneath it. And the Rebels lead 18-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Peart back to serve again. Rebels have gone around the rotation. Peart was the first to serve for the Rebels in the set. Blomquist's pass into the net high, and Huffner goes up and just tips it right down. And the Rebels lead 19-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Peart once again. And the serve way down low. The Braves barely keep it in the air. Now Lamborn's pass goes up high. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn, who pushes toward the far side. Braves are there, and they'll set it up. Here's the hit, blocked by Huffner and Cornea. Tipped right back down by Huffner. And again, Huffner goes up to tip it down. It was just nice play in the net by Huffner. She went up, she blocked it, then tipped it twice. And the Rebels lead 20-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Ellen Peart back to serve again for the Rich Lady Rebels. Serve, just a high arching serve. Now Ovard will set it up. Here's the hit by Smith. Long and out of bounds. Long and wide. And the Rebels lead 21-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. So Rich High with a 21-12 lead in the first set, and Peart goes to the back row. The pass goes over the net. Weston will pass up front. Cornea sets it up for Huffner here on this near side. Ovard, now the quick dump, and the Rebels will set it up again. Here to Lamborn on the near side, and she just hammers that into the blockers. It falls between them and the net, and Cassidy Evans slaps her thigh in frustration there. She knows she had her hands pointed the wrong way and wasn't quite close enough to the net. Here's Peart with the Rebels leading 22-12. It skips off the top of the net. Blomquist dives and tips it over. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. The push into the corner finds the floor. And the Rebels lead 23-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard with Ellen Peart going back to serve. Serve to Stevens. The pass up high. Now they'll set it up, and Lloyd is there for the dig. Cornea sets it for Lamborn. The tip over the blockers, and Smith just trying to keep it into the air, almost like a little hook shot to the floor on her own side of the net, and the Rebels have a set point here, leading 24-12 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Ellen Peart serving right to left, goes back row, just long, out of bounds, and the run ends there. It's 24-13. The Rebels were on an 8-0 run right there. And now back to serve goes Haley McQueen. Rebels pass it up. Cornea will set for Lamborn, and it's blocked right back, but a dive by Weston keeps it in the air. Now Peart hits it, and the Braves are there once again. Set into that. Huffner goes up and just puts a roof on it. Tips it back to the floor, and the Rebels win set one, 25-13 on the Uinetalo scoreboard, and Rich leads 1-0 in this match against North Summit, a dominating first set for the Rebels, who win 25-13. They had runs of 7-1 and 8-0, and get the victory over the North Summit Lady Braves, the 2A Region 16 North Summit Lady Braves. Again, Rebels win 25-13 in set one. Set two is coming up right after this on a Bago Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3, and watch the match online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Bago Tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth or want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is endodontist Les Walker inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and watch online at KADQRadio.com. The Rebels a dominant victory in first set, 25-13. It was close early on. The Rebels led just by 2, 9-7, and they went on a 7-1 run. Made it 16-8. Braves went on a 4-0 run. It was 16-12, and then the Rebels turned it on, went on an 8-0 run with Ellen Peart serving. And the Braves did get one more point, but the Rebels went on to win 25-13 in that first set on the Winnetalo scoreboard. And a good first set victory for the Rich High Lady Rebels. And this is the final home match of the season, final regular season match of the season. The Rebels will start that state tournament next Wednesday afternoon at Utah Valley University. And the Rebels, as the number 1 seed from Region 17, will play first at 2 p.m. next Wednesday afternoon. We'll have it here on KADQ. Here, the beginning serve of set number 2 brought to you by the station in Randolph. The Braves set it up, and Blomquist hits it down the line. It's blocked by the Rebels and blocked out of bounds. And the Lady Braves lead 1-0 early on here in set number 2. Amy Ovard will go back to serve for the Lady Braves. And Ovard goes to Peart. Peart the pass up front. Cornea will set to the middle to Huffner. The set toward the net. And a nice play, but into the net is Ashley Blomquist. And the point will go to the Rebels, who have now tied it up at 1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Danielle Huffner will go back to serve for Rich. Huffner from the near side, left to right in this second set. Blomquist sets it up, and the Braves just barely get it over. Peart passes. Now Cornea will set it up for Lamborn. The push toward the corner, and nobody's there. Boy, she caught Janessa Stevens flat-footed. Janessa was ready to go up and dig something strong from Lamborn, and Cammie just pushed it into the corner. Found that open spot in the defense, and the Rebels lead 2-1. Here's Huffner, and she gets the ace. Beautiful serve by Danielle Huffner. That cleared the net and dove to the floor, and Stevens couldn't get underneath it, and the Rebels lead 3-1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Here's Huffner again. This one a bit longer, and Stevens passes up high. Ovard sets it up, and not a good set. Blomquist going over, can't get underneath it, and Blomquist hits it into the net. The Rebels lead 4-1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Huffner to serve again for the Lady Rebels, and we have a player out of rotation, out of alignment for the Lady Braves. And so that'll give the Rebels a free point, leading 5-1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Huffner again goes to Stevens. Stevens pass out of bounds, and Ovard bumps it back into the net. Braves can't get underneath it, and the Rebel lead is now 6-1. Rebels on a 6-0 run. They were down 1-0. And Huffner to serve again for Rich. Goes to the back row, and this time passed up front by McKadry Potter. They'll set it up, and Whitley Weston keeps it in the air. Cornea bumps it, and now Lamborn bumps it over. Weston again, and now we have a whistle. Rebels will get the point as it was Ovard into the net. And the Rebels lead 7-1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. If you're watching online at KADQRadio.com, Huffner serving left to right. Ovard sets it up. Here's the hit by Blomquist, and she just slapped that one down. Good, strong hit. The official says it was tipped, and I thought it was inbounds anyways. From my angle, it looked like it was in. Braves get the point. And now back to serve goes Haley McQueen. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. Blocked up high, and Peart thought Weston was going to go for it. Weston thought Peart was going to go for it. Falls to the floor, and it's a 7-3 set number 2. Rebels took the first set 25-13, and they lead by 4 in set number 2 on the Unitala scoreboard. Peart passes up high. Cornea has to bump it out, and Lamborn hits from her back foot on this near side angle. Here's the hit by the Braves, and one of the Rebels into the net. That was Andy Cornea. And we're seeing a lot of those calls. These are two officials very strict about players in the net and the two hits. Weston's pass, Peart now bumps it, and Huffner will bump it from the back row just to get it over in 3. Ovard will set it up right behind her. Here's the hit down the line, and Huffner's hit goes, her bump, her dig goes shanked into the stands. Good strong hit by Cassidy Evans, and the Rebel lead is now 7-5 on the Unitala scoreboard. Here's the serve by McQueen, and it is on the back line. Rebel lead is now 7-6. It's a 1-point lead, a 5-0 run by the Lady Braves. The serve, Rebels will set it up, hit right at the net. Blockers can't keep it in the air for the Braves. Rebels will get the point, and Rich ends the run. It was a 5-0 run for the Braves. But now it's 8-6. Rebels with the lead on the Unitala scoreboard. Andy Cornea, the serve, and the pass, not good, but they will keep it in the air and bump it over. Peart will pass it up front to Cornea. Cornea the set far side for Lamborn. The hit tipped by the blockers, and they'll set it up now. Ovard near side. Here's the hit, and misfired a little bit by Janessa Stevens, but it worked out as it tricked the Rebels as well. And it's 8-7. Kind of went off the top of her fist and just barely rolled over the net for the point. And now Ashlyn Blomquist will go back to serve for the Lady Braves. We have a whistle, and one of this near side official trying to clarify something. And not sure what that is. Maybe he's just clarifying one of the players in the rotation for the Rebels. Rebel football team earlier this afternoon, a 48-21 win over the Diamond Ranch Academy Diamondbacks. Rebels had almost 300 rushing yards in the first half, and McKay Jarman with close to 200 rushing yards on his own. A couple of touchdowns, or 3 touchdowns, including one of 65 yards, and the Rebels will host in the first round of the state playoffs next weekend. Clarification is made by the officials, and Emily Hopkins checks back in for Lilia Brown. There's something along the rotation and substitutions for the Rebels, and now we're ready to go again as Ashlyn Blomquist. Peart will pass up front. Cornea the set to the middle for Reagan Lloyd. Nice hit into the corner, and McQueen, her bump goes high into the stands. And the Rebels get the side out and lead 9-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. And Cammie Lamborn back to serve. Lamborn to the back row. They'll set it up and hit from the back row by McQueen. Cornea passes up front. Now the set, and Lloyd just pushes it over. Now the Mustangs, or the Braves rather, just tip it over. Now the Rebels set it up for Peart. The hit tipped by the blockers. Braves will set it up to the right to the middle. The hit is long by Brenna Richens. And the Rebels get the point, leading 10-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. Cammie Lamborn back to serve again. Just clears the net, and Stevens just reaching out, shanks it into the stands. And the Rebels lead 11-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. Good to see the North Summit cheerleaders here on the west side wall behind their team. Pass goes up front into the net, and the Rebels lead 12-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. And Rich on a 4-0 run here with Cammie Lamborn back to serve again. Pass up high. It's a little better pass now. Ovard sets it up. Here's the hit, tipped by the Rebel blockers. Now Hopkins will just dump it over. The pass into the net. Lloyd tips it over and back to the Braves. Now they'll set it up into the net. They can't get underneath it as Cassidy Evans was right under the net. Her bump went to the bottom side of the net, and the Rebels lead 13-7 on the Unitala scoreboard. 5-0 run. And the pass right at the net, tipped right back down by Hopkin. And the Rebels lead 14-7 on the Uinta scoreboard, really starting to pull away now as Lamborn goes back to serve again for the Rebels. Passed up high, and the hit to the back line, a nice hit by Blomqvist. That ends the Rebel run at 6-0, and it's 14-8 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve will go Cassidy Evans. Evans. Lamborn will pass. Cornea sets it up for Peart. Peart's hit right down the line, and she just hammered that right at Cassidy Evans, who couldn't control it. And the Rebels lead 15-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Scoreboard says 14-9. They gave the point to the Braves. It should have gone to the Rebels. Here's 14-8, rather. Rebels will set it up. Cornea for Huffner. Huffner's hit blocked and back down on the Braves side of the net. So the Rebel lead is now 15-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Braves will set it up. Here's the hit, and that is long by Janessa Stevens. So it's scoreboard catching up a little bit here now. It's 17-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels with the lead in set two. Pass goes into the net. Braves keep it alive. A nice play by Ovard. Now the Rebels will set it up. Cornea for Peart. Peart the hit down the line, and again, they just can't control it. Haley McQueen reached out a hand and kept it in the air, but not controlled, and the Rebels lead 18-8. Now they get that scoreboard corrected. I was wondering if they would get that. 18-8, Rebels with the lead. Reagan Lloyd. Here's the serve. The Braves, I keep calling them the Mustangs because of last night. Hopkin will set it up for Peart. Peart the tip. Blockers are there, and they'll just tip it back into the air. They keep it in the air. Now Lloyd, the set. And Peart will hammer it. Blocked, but into the net. 4 hits by the Rebels. They're going to say that Peart's hit was actually in the net, not blocked. And it's 18-9. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. And Stevens goes back to serve. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea the set for Peart. Peart the big hit down the line, blocked but out of bounds. Rebels now lead 19-9 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Emily Hopkin will go back to serve. She's had some real bright moments, bright serving matches in this season. They'll set it up. Huffner goes up, and as McQueen tries to tip it over, Huffner just puts a roof up there, blocks it right back down. And the Rebels lead 20-9, and Hopkin will go back and serve again. Hopkins serving left to right. You see the ball come in left to right if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. And the serve into the net. So it's 20-10. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. And Smith back to serve. Peart goes down low, bumps it. Now the set for Peart. Peart the push over the top. And boy, she pushed it right over the blockers, but down in front of where Evans could get to it. And the Rebels lead 21-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Peart going back to serve now. Braves had a real hard time with Peart serving in the first set. Here's Ovard, sets it up for Blomqvist, tipped by the Rebel blockers. That's Hopkin. Now Cornea will set it up, and Lamborn's tip over the net. Tipped up once by the Braves, but they can't keep it in the air. And the Rebels lead 22-10 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Peart back to serve again. And Peart serve into the net. Not often we see that from her. But that'll give the serve back to Ovard and the Lady Braves. Ovard serves down low. Peart dives to keep it in the air, and the pass goes over the net. Now the Braves will set it up, and what a hit by Blomqvist. That's how Coach Samantha Stephen wants her team to play. She got up high. It was perfect timing, and there was no way the Rebels were going to get to that one. It's 22-12. Rebels with the lead on the Uinta scoreboard. And Amy Ovard back to serve. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea, the set for Lamborn, and she's blocked. Big block there by Evans and Blomqvist. And it's 22-13. Braves on a 3-0 run. Ovard. Here's the serve, and Lloyd will pass it up front. Cornea sets it for Huffner here in the middle. hit over the blockers. The pass goes into the net. Huffner goes up high and tips it down, but Rebels will get the point. They're going to say the Huffner went over the top of the net. An illegal hit. And it's 22-14. Rebels with the lead on the Unitano scoreboard. Ovard. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea sets it up right in the net for Lamborn. Hit hard, tipped up, and kept in the air. Now the Braves will set it up for Blomquist, and she'll go up and just tip it right down. And it's 22-15. Braves on a run here. A 5-0 run. It was 22-10. Now it's 22-15. The Braves working their way back into this one. Here's Ovard. Lloyd passes up. Cornea will set for Peart on the back row, and it's tipped by the net, kept in the air by a diving Stevens. Rebels keep it in the air. Now Peart pushes up high. Cornea will set, and a double hit against Cornea, and it's 22-16, a 6-0 run by the Lady Rebels, or by the Lady Braves. Ovard back again to serve, and Peart will pass it up high. Cornea bumps up for the set to Lamborn. Lamborn's push. Tipped right back into the net. Lamborn goes up and hits it, but she tips the net. And the point will go to the Lady Braves, who are now down just by 5. 22-17 on the Unitano scoreboard. Ovard. The serve just clears the net. Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea sets it up for Huffner. Blocked. Tipped right back over. Huffner slaps it back over. Now the Braves will set it up, and here's the hit by Blomquist into the corner, and she hammers that one home. It's 22-18. And you can see what Coach Samantha Stevens was talking about. Some good talent on this Lady Braves team. They just haven't pulled it together for a full match very often this season. And they're really pulling it together here in this second set, coming and making a big comeback. Rebels will set it up for Lamborn. The push down the line, and that's what the Rebels needed. The blockers were there, so she just pushes it down the line where there are no Braves down in that corner. And the Rebel lead is now 23-18 on the Unitano scoreboard, and Danielle Huffner back to serve, try to close this second set out. Rebels won the first set. Here's Ovard, the set. Big hit coming in from this near side. Blocked by the Rebels. Haley McQueen tips it to keep it in the air, but tips it out of bounds here to the Rebel bench. And it's set point. Rebels leading 24-18 on the Unitano scoreboard. Rebels won the first set 25-13. And here's Huffner. Set point for the Rebels, left to right. The serve dives, passed back over the net. Weston. Now Cornea will set it up for Lamborn in the net and tipped right back. That set just too close to the net, and a good job by Blomquist to be right there in position and tip it right back down to the floor. 24-19, Rebels lead by 5. Set point. Peart passes up front. Cornea will set for Lamborn. The big hit blocked out of bounds into the stands and out of play, and the Rebels win set 2. 25-19 on the Unitano scoreboard. So the Rebels lead 2-0 in the match. They won the first set 25-13 and won the second set 25-19, much closer than that first set, especially after that big run by the Lady Braves. It was an 8-0 run there toward the end of the match, but the Rebels still pull out the victory, 25-19 on the Unitano scoreboard. Well, stay tuned. We got set 3 coming up here on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and watch online at KADQradio.com.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online. You can watch it KADQradio.com. You see the Rebel students section there on our hotshot cam. If you're watching online at KADQradio.com. And Rebel football team celebrating a big win tonight over Diamond Ranch, and the Rebels 7-2 regular season with, we'll hope and knock on wood, 3 games left to go now. But first, they're going to have to win next week against it's going to be either Kanab, Monticello, or Diamond Ranch, depending on who comes out as the third place team from that South region. Monticello and Kanab facing off tonight. If Kanab wins, that would drop Monticello down to third, put Diamond Ranch at second. Kanab would take first in the region. If Monticello wins, then there would be a 3-way tie down there, and they'd have a coin toss to decide first, second, and third place and who gets those seedings. So that's the situation for the Rich Rebel football team, and they'll play that. They'll host that first round game of the playoffs next Friday or Saturday. In the meantime, Rich Rebel volleyball here tonight, leading 2-0 over the Lady Braves of North Summit. Rebels got the win in the first set, 25-13. That second set a bit closer, and it looked like it was going to be even a more dominant victory for the Rebels. They were ahead 21-22 to 10 before the Lady Braves went on an 8-0 run, made it 22-18, got much closer, but the Rebels still won 25-19, and they're now up 2-0 in this match. Rebels with the lead as we head for set 3, and our beginning serve brought to you by the station in Randolph, just moments away. There it is by Brenna Richens. Rebels will set it up for Huffner. Hits on the back line. She barely gets it on that line, and the Rebels lead 1-0 in set 3 on the Winnetalo scoreboard as Ellen Peart will go back to serve. And Peart serving right to left if you're watching online at KADQradio.com. Pass goes over the net. Cornea tips it. Blomquist keeping it in the air, tips it out of bounds, and the Rebels lead 2-0. That pass over the net, and Cornea, good awareness to just go up high, tip it back down, and earn the Rebels the point. Here's Peart. Again, the pass right into the net. Obard will set it up, and a nice hit down the line up to the back row, but it's just out of bounds. Brown was trying to get up to it, but she didn't get a piece of it, and that's lucky for the Rebels because it's out of bounds, and the Rebels lead 3-0 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Here's a bump by Stevens, and she just bumps it into that the pole on the far side where the up official is, and the Rebels lead 4-0 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Peart once again to serve. She's been giving these Braves a hard time with her serve. Now they'll set it up, and here's the hit tipped by the Rebel blockers. Lamborn passes up front. Cornea sets for Huffner. Huffner's hit tipped, and the Braves will keep it in the air. Blomquist will slap it over. Passed up front. Cornea sets this near side for Lamborn. The push down the line, and Evans can't control it. So the Rebels lead 5-0 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Peart has been picking on McKadry Potter. She goes there again. Potter, good pass this time. Obard will set it up for Blomquist. A big hit, but it's out of bounds. Oh, no, it was on the line. It was out of bounds. I looked over to that line judge over there, and it looked like she was saying that it was on the line, but it's 6-0 as the head official says it was out. Rebels lead 6-0. And here's the dump set. Nice job. Lloyd dives to keep it in the air. Now Lamborn just pushes it over the blockers. Braves are there, and they'll set it up. Here's the hit. Peart digs, and Cornea will set it up for Lamborn on this near side hit into the net. A little bit further back off the net than she wanted to be. And now the Braves will have the serve. Rebels leading 6-1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Ovard, the serve, and Lamborn passes to Cornea. Cornea will set it up back for Lamborn. Hit blocked, and is it out of bounds? Yeah, no, it was blocked inbounds by the Braves, and so they get the point. It's 6-2 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Rebels ahead by 4. Ovard serves to Peart. The set. Huffner's hit is blocked by Blomquist. And the Lady Braves making a little bit of a run here. It's a 3-0 run, and they're down by 3, 6-3 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Here's Ovard again. Ovard Peart will pass up front. Cornea sets to the back row for Peart. Big hit, and she hammers that one in there. Ovard tries to play it and shanks it to the back wall, that east wall. And the Rebels lead now 7-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. And Huffner will go back to serve. Her serve just clears the net, and the pass is shanked by Haley McQueen back to the east wall. And the Rebels lead 8-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Huffner again to serve. And she goes to Stevens. Stevens passes up front. Ovard the set. Here's the tip by McQueen. Brown is there. Now the Rebels will set it up for Lamborn, and she just hits it right at the blockers, and it falls to the floor. Cassidy Evans and Ashlyn Blomquist are there, but they can't block that. It falls to their side of the net, and the Rebels lead 9-3 on the Uinta scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well. Rebels leading 9-3 on the Uinta scoreboard in set number 3. And we'll be back with more of this set on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and watch online at KADQradio.com.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Rebels leading 9-3 on the Uinta scoreboard, and Danielle Huffner with the serve here. It's set number 3. Rebels won the first 2 sets, 25-13 and 25-19. And Ovard here will set it up for Blomquist, who hits it into the net. It was 4 hits as they tried to keep it in the air, and the Rebels now lead 10-3 on the Uinta scoreboard in set 3 against North Summit here at Rich High School. Huffner for the serve. Ovard sets it up to the back row to McQueen. Tipped by the Rebels. Nice job by Huffner to keep it in the air, and somehow the Rebels get it over. Peart from her knees bumped it over. Now McQueen hits, and it's blocked by the Rebels out of bounds. So it's 10-4. The Braves get the point there. And the Rebel lead is 10-4 on the Uinta scoreboard. Back to serve goes Haley McQueen. McQueen goes to Peart. The pass to Cornea. The set for Reagan Lloyd right in the middle. Hit down that far side and a bit long out of bounds, or a bit wide, I should say. And the Rebel lead is now down to 5. 10-5 on the Uinta scoreboard. Rebels had a nice little 4-0 run going there. Huffner passes up front. Cornea the set. Lamborn hammers it, and it's blocked back. Rebels will bump it up high to keep it in the air, and 2 hits on Lamborn as she tries to keep it in the air, and it's 10-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. And like I said, these officials real strict about that 2 hit. Here's McQueen. Peart passes up front. Cornea sets, and Lamborn to push into the corner, and a perfect placement. Finds the floor back there in the corner. The Rebels lead 11-6 on the Uinta scoreboard. Hopkin will check in for Brown. Hopkin on the front row with Lamborn and Lloyd. Huffner, Peart, and Cornea on the back row. Passed up front. The set right at the net. Rebels block it. Lamborn goes to her backside to keep it in the air, and Peart hits hard. It's kept in the air by McQueen. They'll set it up for Blomquist. Blocked by the Rebels, and it's to the floor on the Braves side of the net. Rebels lead 12-6 on the Uinta scoreboard in set 3. Rebels won the first 2 sets, 25-13, 25-19. Passed up front by Potter. Now the Braves will set it up, hit down the line. Cornea's there. Hopkin will set it up, and Lloyd will just bump it over. Now the Braves will set it up for Blomquist. Hit to the back corner. It was in. Yeah, that looked like it was in. The line judge there initially said it was out, but then corrected herself real quick. And I think she made the right call. That looked like it was in. Braves get the point, and the lead now for the Rebels is 12-7 in set 3. Rebels won the first 2 sets. And Huffner lets that serve find the floor before she can get underneath it. Nice serve by Blomquist and the ace. And it's 12-8. Rebel lead is 4 on the Uinta scoreboard. Here's Blomquist again. Peart will pass up front to Cornea. The set, and Lamborn pushes down the line. Hit there by the Braves. Rebels pass it back over. Now right at the net. Tipped in the air and kept in the air by Evans, but kept out of bounds. And the Rebels will get the point, leading 13-8 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. And Lamborn will go back to serve for Rich. Serving right to left. Here's Lamborn. Stevens passes up front. Ovard dives to keep it in the air on the set. And it's a low set. Then the third hit goes under the net, and the Rebels lead 14-8 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Lamborn back again to serve. Goes back row to McQueen, pass up front. Now they'll set for for Stevens rather. That's Janessa Stevens, and she hits on the angle from that far side right at the net to the near side. Just clears the net. A nice placement by Stevens, and it's 14-9 on the Winnetalo scoreboard as Evans goes back to serve. The pass by the Rebels right at the net, and going up high to hammer it down is Brenna Richens. And it's 14-10 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Rebel lead is cut down. Now Lloyd dives to keep it in the air. The set goes over the net, though. And Richens, now Lamborn, it goes off the ceiling tile and right back down, and the Rebels keep it in the air and bump it over. Ovard now will set it up for Stevens, and Lamborn reaches out trying to keep that one in the air, bumps it to the back wall, and the Braves have come alive here. Down by 3. Rebel lead is 14-11 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Rebels won the first 2 sets, and they're leading by 3 in set 3. Here's Peart with the hit to the back row, and McQueen will bump it up high. Now they'll set it for Stevens. The hit is just long, and the Rebel lead is now 15-11 on the Winnetalo scoreboard as Lilia Brown checks back in. And Reagan Lloyd goes in to serve, or goes back to serve. McQueen passes up front, set it up for Evans, and a hit toward Cornea. Richens, rather, with the hit. Cornea can control it, and it's 15-12. Braves back within 3 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Back to serve goes Janessa Stevens. Stevens down low goes Lamborn to keep it in the air, and they'll set it up for Huffner. Hit down the far corner, and it's out of bounds. 15-13. Rebels lead by just 2 over the Braves. Braves chipping away and working their way back into this one. Here's Janessa Stevens. Lloyd will pass up high. Cornea sets it to the back row to Lamborn. Hit, and Evans is there. Now they'll set it up and blocked back down. Nice job by Huffner. Richens tried to just tip it over, and Huffner put the roof on it. And it's 16-13 after that Rebel point on the Winnetalo scoreboard with Lilia Brown back to serve. Rebels leading 2-0, and we're in set 3. Brown serve into the net, and it's 16-14. Braves back within 2. Brenna Richens goes back to serve. Rebels with Cornea, Huffner, Peart, Lamborn, Lloyd, and Brown on the floor. Serve goes back row to Brown. Good pass to Cornea up front. Now they'll set it up for Lamborn. It goes off the top of the net, rolls down, and Blomquist is there. Now the Rebels block it down the line on the hit by McQueen, and Brown can't get underneath it. It's a 1-point set, 16-15. Rebels up by just 1 on the Winnetalo scoreboard as Brenna Richens back to serve again. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea will set for Peart. Peart to push down the line, and Evans is there. Braves will set it up, blocked by the Rebels. Now they'll set it up again, blocked by the Rebels again. Pass up into the net, tipped over by Peart, and they're going to say that Peart was in the net, is what the official said, but Huffner points to herself, says it was me, and we're tied at 16 on the Winnetalo scoreboard. Here in set 3, and then Richens serves it into the net. So the Rebels regain the lead, 17-16 on the Winnetalo scoreboard, and Peart the serve. Pass goes over the net, and Cornea just tips it right back. Now Blomquist will hit it over. Peart is there. The pass up front, the set for Lamborn, hit to the corner, and a beautiful push. Lamborn just, it's like a set attack, and she pushes it over into the corner, and the Rebels lead 18-16. Great court vision. She saw that corner was open. Here's the serve by Peart, played off the arm of Potter and kept in the air. Peart will pass it up front. Cornea sets for Lamborn. Lamborn hammers it down the line, but it's a bit long. And it's 18-17. Rebel lead is just 1 as Amy Ovard goes back to serve. Ovard from the near side. Going left to right. Lloyd passes up front. Cornea will set for Lamborn here on this near side. Tip over the blockers, but they dive and keep it alive. Blomquist bumps it over. Rebel push it into the net, and Cornea's set. Boy, she had to get right under the net to try and keep that one in the air, and it was not well played by the Rebels, and we're tied at 18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard, and Amy Ovard goes back to serve. Ovard to the back row. Lloyd passes. Cornea scrambling to keep it up there, and Huffner bumps it over. Rebels do get it over in 3. Now they'll set it up. Here's Blomquist. Hit into the net. The set was a little bit low by Cassidy Evans, and Blomquist couldn't get over in time, and the Rebels lead 19-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Here's Danielle Huffner to serve for Rich to the back row. Stevens passes up toward her bench, and the third hit is just a bump over. Not a good attack by the Braves. Cornea will set it up for Lamborn on this near side. Coming in strong. It's blocked right back to the Rebels. Now Brown will set it up for Lamborn. The push over the net back to the Rebels. And Lamborn now set up again by Cornea. It's tipped over, and the Rebels will get the point. 2 straight times there. The Rebels hit it over, and the server, or the dig went right back to the Rebels. They set it right back up again, and they get the point and lead 20-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Timeout on the floor. We'll take a quick one as well and be back with more on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and watch online at kadqradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile, revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing, all the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go, we got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Rebels serving with Danielle Huffner, and the serve receive goes into the net. They get a couple more hits to keep it in the air, but they can't get it over. And the Rebels now lead 21-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Rebels won the first 2 sets, and here in set 3, the Rebels with the 3-point lead. And the serve receive, not a good one. A poor pass by Haley McQueen. She shanks it over to this near sideline, and the Rebels up 22-18 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Huffner again to serve. She's been serving really well tonight. Goes back row to Stevens. Ovard now sets it up for Blomquist. Tipped to the floor, and Brown dives. She does get a hand on it, but not under it. And it's 22-19. The Braves get the point there, ending that Rebel 4-0 run. Back to serve goes McQueen. Rebels will set it up to the net to Lamborn. She hammers it, but it's blocked by Blomquist. And I've got to say, maybe it was Evans that blocked that as she gets the high fives. And the Rebel lead is cut to 2, 22-20. Peart passes up front. Cornea will set for Reagan Lloyd in the middle. Push over the net. The pass goes back over. Lamborn punches it to keep it in the air. Peart sets it for Lamborn on this near side, and she tip it over. Now the Braves will set it up here this near side. Blocked by Lamborn. Blocked. Just an unfortunate bounce for the Rebels as it's tipped right back, or blocked to a space on the floor where the Rebels did not have anybody. And it's a 1-point set here. Rebels up 22-21. McQueen. And Peart will pass it to Cornea. Cornea sets it up to this near side for Lamborn. The push, trying to find that hole. The Braves will keep it in the air. Barely. The third hit does not clear the net. And the Rebels lead 23-21 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Emily Hopkin will check in. Rebels won the first 2 sets. 25-13, 25-19. The Braves have made it progressively closer. Here's Cornea, the serve. Pass by Potter into the net, and the Braves can't control it. Rebels have a point, a set point. It's actually set and match point. Rebels leading 2-0 in the match and 24-21 in set 3 on the Uinetalo scoreboard. Braves will set it up. Here's Blomquist, the big hit. Cornea goes out of bounds to keep this one alive, and the Rebels will just push it over. Blomquist passes up high. Now they'll set it up. Here's the hit by Evans. Cornea keeps it alive in the net, and Hopkins can't get underneath it. So the Braves keep themselves alive. It's 24-22. Rebels with the lead on the Uinetalo scoreboard in set 3. Blomquist Lamborn's pass into the net, and easy play for Richen. She goes up high and taps it down. And it's 24-23. Rebels lead is 1 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Still set point as Blomquist serves. Set and match point. Cornea sets it up for Lamborn. The push, and the Braves are barely there. They keep it in the air. Blomquist will bump it over. Peart will pass it up front. Cornea, the set. Here's Lamborn coming in strong and fast. The pass back over the net. Huffner bumps it up. Cornea will set it up again for Lamborn. Hammered and blocked right back. Cornea bumps it high. Now Hopkin will set for Lamborn. The push toward the corner. Blomquist is there. As Ovard will set it up. Here's the hit. Rebels tip it, but it falls to the floor, and the Braves get the point. We're tied at 24 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Blomquist back to serve another time. Huffner will pass. Cornea, the set. Lamborn, here's the hit. Push to the corner, and it finds the floor. That attack so effective, especially after the last few times she's just kind of swinging away. This time, she goes up and just pushes it into the near corner on that east side of the gym. Lamborn now back to serve. Rebels set and match point, leading 25-24 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Pass goes toward the bench, but the Braves keep it in the air and bump it over on the third. Lamborn, the pass. Here's the set. Cornea to Peart. Peart tipped down the line, and the Rebels win. A dive by Ovard, but she can't get underneath it. And the Rebels win 26-24 in set 3 and win the match in 3 straight. Rebels get the victory and close out the regular season with a 3-0 win over the North Summit Lady Braves in the 2A Region 16. So the Rebels get the victory again, 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24. Win in 3 straight over the Lady Braves. Stay tuned. We'll have our post-game show with the interview with Coach Cindy Stewart coming up after this on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Precious time cannot be recovered once lost, said the famous Jack Sparrow. Don't lose time driving extra miles when the dental services you need are available right here in Evanston. Do you need a root canal? Do you need your wisdom teeth pulled? Are you missing teeth and want a full and perfect smile? Do you need braces? All of these services are available from our specialists right here in Evanston. This is oral surgeon A.J. Stosich, inviting you to join me and my associates. Call today to schedule an appointment at 307-789-5608. That's 307-789-5608. Save your precious time.
Throughout our lives, there are times we may need skilled rehabilitation and nursing care or home health and hospice care. Rocky Mountain Care has been providing these services since 1990. Our skilled staff and specialized programs will meet your loved one's needs. Our staff is dedicated to a high-quality outcome for each of our patients and residents. When you or someone you love needs these professional services, think of Rocky Mountain Care. Simply the best care. www.rmcare.com.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 with video online at KADQradio.com. And the Rich Lady Rebels win over the North Summit Lady Braves in 3 straight, 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24 on the Uinetado scoreboard. Rebels win in 3 straight. And good victory here tonight for the Rich Rebels. Their overall record is improved to 15-10 this season, including some of those pool play matches at tournaments. And that's the final match of the regular season. Up next for the Lady Rebels is the state tournament next Wednesday and Thursday at Utah Valley University in Orem. And we'll bring you every match the Rebels play at that tournament right here on KADQ FM 98.3, and watch them online at KADQradio.com. And the Rebels, not sure who their opponent will be in that first round, but we do know they'll play at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, October 30th. As the number 1 seed from Region 17, Rebels wrapped that up last week at Manila with the victory. And so the Rebels will play at 2 p.m. We'll have our pregame coverage next Wednesday at, we'll say 1:40 at the first serve at 2 o'clock next Wednesday afternoon. And again, we don't know who the opponent will be, but we should know within the next couple of days. As for the Rich Rebel football team, a dominant win tonight, 48-21 over the Diamond Ranch Diamondbacks. And the Rebels, with that victory, improved their overall record on the football field to 7-2 this season. The only losses coming at undefeated Duchesne and against the West Side Pirates of Idaho. So, Rich Rebel volleyball team here tonight, a good solid victory over the Lady Braves, and the Rebels did it just by playing the same old volleyball we've seen them play all season long. They don't get too worked up or too down if they give up a run. Rebels won that first set fairly easily, 25-13. Braves kind of came alive in the second set. At one point, though, the Rebels were ahead 22-10 before the Braves went on an 8-0 run, made it 22-18. But then the Rebels pulled it back together and won 25-19 on the Winnetonka scoreboard. In set 3, boy, it was close almost the entire way, with the exception of right at the beginning. Rebels went on a 6-0 run and actually led 10-3 early on before the Braves just kind of chipped away. They kept fighting. They kept themselves in it, worked themselves back up. They tied it at 16. They kept it close the rest of the way. Actually, we were tied at 24, but then the Rebels scored the final 2 points and got the win, 26-24 on the Winnetonka scoreboard, and a solid win here tonight for the Rich High Lady Rebels. Stay tuned. We'll see if we can get a hold of Coach Cindy Stewart and have a chat with her here on our post-game show. Again, the Rebels win 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24 on the Winnetonka scoreboard and win in 3 straight over the Lady Braves here tonight. Stay tuned for more of our post-game show coming up right after this on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.
For over 100 years, Union Telephone has been providing phone service to small communities, places the big guys simply ignored. We were helping our neighbors stay connected to the rest of the country. Times have changed and technology has evolved. Union has been there the entire way. Today, we still keep people connected in more ways and places than ever before. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number.
Long lines and slow traffic. Gas prices on the rise? Save yourself a trip to the big city by stopping first at Cowboy Motor Company. You no longer have to get out of Dodge to find the best deals on vehicles. Cowboy Motor Company has them in stock. Expanding inventory and plenty of money available for lending, you can now get into Dodge at Cowboy Motor Company. Strength, honesty, and integrity. The Cowboy way. Cowboy Motor Company, 100 Wasatch Road in Evanston.
Welcome back to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ-FM 98.3 and watch online at KADQRadio.com. Rebels with a good, solid victory here tonight against the North Summit Lady Braves, 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24 on the Winnetonka scoreboard. Rebels win in 3 straight. The Braves, after that first set, almost thought the Rebels were going to just dominate, but the Braves kept it close in sets 2 and 3. But the Rebels still get the victory. Both teams wrapping up their regular season here tonight. And for the Rebels, next up, it's at the state tournament next week at Utah Valley University. A lot of folks just kind of hanging around here in the Rich High School gym, and they've started turning lights off. I think they're trying to give us a hint. And I've been looking for Coach Stewart. She's doing a lot of catch-up with former players and former students. So I don't know if we're going to get here to join us. Get her here to join us tonight. So stay tuned. We'll have Coach Stewart. I'll talk with her in the coming days. We'll have her on a Coach's Corner this next week. Of course, Coach's Corner every weekday at 3:30 right here on KADQ-FM 98.3. And you can also listen to KADQ anytime online at KADQRadio.com. So that will be coming up next week. And, of course, taking a look ahead. Well, let's just take a real quick break. We'll see if we can get Coach Stewart's attention and see if we can get her up here for a post-game interview. So stay tuned for more on our post-game show on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com.
It's time for the pre-winter checkup special.
Big O Tires, we go the extra mile. Revving up the service to make you smile. We're in the business of customer pleasing. All the right service for all the right reasons.
Receive an oil change, 22-point inspection, brake check, and tire rotation for just $59.99.
Extra miles, the way we go. We got you covered at Big O.
Big O Tires in Evanston, 607 Cheyenne Drive.
Find out how Chevy trucks stack up against all of the other major brand name trucks in their class. Confirm what you know or surprise yourself. Just log on to CastleRockChevy.com. Right now you can drive any new Chevy truck off the lot for just 1% over factory invoice OAC, and ask about other rebates and offers that apply.
We're Castle Rock.
Like us on Facebook, Castle Rock Chevy in Evanston, CastleRockChevy.com.
Welcome back to the post-game show on a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ FM 98.3 and online. You can watch at KADQradio.com. Rebels get the win here tonight in 3 straight. The Rebels got the victory over the North Summit Lady Braves 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24 on the Unititled scoreboard. Tonight's starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff, and the beginning serve of each set was brought to you by the station in Randolph. And I've been unable to get Coach Cindy Stewart's attention. I know she's doing a lot of catch-up with former players, former students, and of course senior night. So a lot of parents here to cheer on their seniors, and she is just busy. So we'll catch up with her in the coming days, and we'll have an interview with her in our Coach's Corner. And of course, taking a look ahead, the Rebels will be back in action on Wednesday at that state tournament at Utah Valley University, and they'll start things off at that state tournament at 2 p.m. on Wednesday afternoon. Tune in for our pregame coverage for that at 1:40 right here on KADQ FM 98.3 and online at KADQradio.com. Again, we don't know who the opponent is just yet, but we'll know in the coming days. So make sure to tune in to KADQ, and we'll let you know who the Rebels will play in that first round. But we do know it'll be at 2 o'clock, and they'll play again on Wednesday, win, lose, or draw. And hopefully we'll have some more matches on Thursday. And we'll bring you all the matches from that state tournament of the Rebel volleyball team at Utah Valley University in Orem. So if you can't get away from work to go support the Rebels there at Utah Valley University next Wednesday and Thursday, you can tune in here on the radio at 98.3 FM. And also, if you're maybe you're at work, you can tune in and watch it online and listen online at KADQradio.com. And all these matches and football games are available on KADQradio.com as well. And so that's what's ahead for the Rich Rebel volleyball team. Next week, the Rich Rebel football team will play either we'll play either Friday or Saturday night. And they'll host in that first round, that quarterfinal round of the state playoffs. And the opponent, again, yet to be determined. Monticello and Kanab facing off tonight. And the Rebels will host the third-place team from the 1A South region. So, again, we should know who that is by Monday morning. We'll let you know here on KADQ. Looking ahead at what's coming up for the other activities and the Rich School District calendar. Let's see, what have we got? Again, the state tournament next week for the Lady Rebel volleyball team. Rich Middle School boys basketball team tips off the season Thursday, October 31st on Halloween. They play host to Kemmerer, and that'll be at 4:30 p.m. tip-off. And then the next day, the Rich Middle School Royal boys basketball team will play at Star Valley, and that'll be a tip-off at 3 p.m. That's what's coming up next week for the Rebel football, volleyball, and the Royal Middle School boys basketball team. Well, thank you for listening here tonight. Again, the Rebels get the victory, 3-0. They win in 3 straight, 25-13, 25-19, and 26-24. On the Unititled scoreboard and the win over the North Summit Lady Braves. This has been the Lady Rebels post-game show, and it's been a sports production and sports broadcast of Old West Media Incorporated and Cook Brothers Broadcasting. No portion of this production can be used or rebroadcast without express written consent of Old West Media Incorporated. Once again, our final score tonight, Rebels get the win in 3 straight on the Unititled scoreboard. Join us again Wednesday afternoon as the Rebels. We have a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of our Lady Rebels taking on, playing at that state tournament at Utah Valley University. We'll be on the air with you at 1:40 for our pregame next Wednesday afternoon, and the first serve scheduled for 2 o'clock at the state tournament, first round of that tournament. Until then, go Rebels.
You've been listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich High School Lady Rebel Volleyball on KADQ-FM 98.3 with video online at KADQRadio.com. Today's match has been brought to you by these Rebel supporting businesses and individuals. Union Wireless, treating you like a neighbor, not a number. Rocky Mountain Care, simply the best care. Wyoming Dental Specialties. Castle Rock Chevrolet, we are Chevrolet. Big O Tires, the team you trust. And Cowboy Motor Company, save a horse, buy from Cowboy. Today's starting lineups were brought to you by Stacy's Repair in Woodruff. The beginning serve of each set was brought to you by The Station in Randolph. Your pregame coaches show was brought to you by Gary McKee and Bear Lake Realty in Garden City. And your scoreboard sponsor for today's broadcast was You Win a Title. Thank you for listening to a Big O Tires of Evanston presentation of Rich Rebel Sports on KADQ-FM 98.3 and online at KADQRadio.com.